Hello, makers. My name is Jen, and I'm head of marketing for Making. We are at Sacred Sheep in Portland, Oregon, and we are talking to some of the amazing artists and vendors that are here. And one of those people is standing right next to me. Hello, Steph.
Hi, how are you?
So good to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you
How
for
has
having
today
me.
been?
Really great. It's
Oh
been
my
so
gosh,
fun.
so busy.
Yes, definitely.
The vibes here are great.
Yes.
I really, really enjoy it. I know we're close to the end of the day here, so we can talk about how great it was.
Yeah, I think that it's really well spaced out. I felt like there's lots of great food people could get, lots of
Yeah.
amazing vendors. I felt like people just enjoy the experience as a whole. And actually, just really being able to have an event in Portland is so nice. An
Yeah.
event like this one. I mean, I love the Rose City Yarn Crawl, but actually being able to be at a festival style situation where you can go from booth to booth and then go out and get some food and sit and hang with friends and not run all over the place, that's really special.
Oh yeah. Where did your maker journey begin?
Where did it begin? It began in my basement.
I love it. In the
And
basement.
also in Eugene. So when I first
Wonderful.
moved out to Oregon, I had been doing like hanging out with knitters all over the country and doing knitting blogs because I moved around a lot. And so this is like how I met people for a few years. And I'd been reading through knitting blogs and I'd been reading about dyers. And I was hanging out in Eugene and I knew a couple dyers there. And they kept saying, oh, it's so easy. You can totally do this. And I was like, maybe. You know, I've got some parents that do art and illustration and paint. Like, I'm not really afraid of color. You know, my dad sent me a dye kit, you know, for like a Christmas present a couple of, years before that. I was like, well, if I open this thing, it's going to be all over. So I have to wait until I have some free time. So I finished my AmeriCorps job and, lo and behold, there's like this little economic depression going on and there's no way I'm getting a job anytime soon. So I was like, I'll open this dye kit and maybe I'll have a baby. So I did that like in October of 2008. I was pregnant and had a yarn business inside of a month and a half.
Someone's an overachiever.
I gave birth to two things in 1 month. So I was selling yarn to like my friends, obviously, for many months. They were really great and just bought more yarn and I just reinvest it. And Sock Summit was 2011 for me. So the baby was born during Sock Summit of 2009, so I can go do that. Yeah.
Nice. So it sounds like you grew up just in a very creative household.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
How did you learn how to knit?
So my mom taught me how to knit several times between 6 and 8.
Yeah,
several times.
I love
Yeah,
that.
eventually it took. And at some point she was like, you have to make a garment. So I think around 13, she like made me make a sweater out of vogue knitting and and
Do you
then
still
was
have
like,
that sweater by any chance?
God no.
No, yeah. Some people are like, I'm proud of this, and some people are like, I don't want to
I
see
mean,
it
it
ever
looks
again.
okay. It's a, it's a vogue knitting sweater with but no, I don't have that.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, here, make a sweater for your new, cousin or whatever. And I would just do it, right?
Yeah.
She would explain stuff. It had Intarsia the dinosaur sweater. Who cares, right? Mom will explain it. Mom taught me how to knit socks over the phone.
Oh my,
That was really hard.
wow.
Really, really hard.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty funny. Because how do you know which one needle? I was like, which one is needle one?
I mean, it was hard enough for me to figure out how to turn a heel by watching videos.
Yeah, and this was before you could get like lots of great videos. And
Yeah.
I mean, I remember being in Colorado. I would just knit like a little bit every year for a long, long time. I knit a sweater. I'd spend my birthday money. I'd get like Vogue knitting or interweave knits, and I knit like one sweater. And that's what I did for many years. And then I was in a bookstore, and I looked, and there was this, meditations for women who knit too much. And I was like, oh, she has a blog. Oh, I'll go check that out. I haven't seen a good knitting blog, and it was, Stephanie from my feet, right?
Oh, nice.
Right?
Yeah.
So then I started finding more knitting blogs and going to more things and finding people through meetup.com. That was big, right?
I
and I would
remember
hang
that.
out and I would knit it. And then eventually that kind of led to podcasts about people dying, people would dye yarn, right? Like Lime and Violet back in the day. And this is like way old stuff, right?
Love it.
It sounds really
though.
old. I don't know. We're only talking
It's
like,
not,
it's not really.
It's not that old.
It's just old in internet time.
That's fair. I feel old in internet time.
Right?
It's true.
I even had I came up in time when Etsy was really new too. So I just was like, I'll just reserve that name.
Oh,
I didn't even know what I was
smart.
going to do with it. I was
Oh my
just
gosh,
like,
so smart.
I did a lot of wandering in between jobs. I didn't know how, when, the economy would shape back up or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'll do this, whatever, worked
Well,
out.
speaking of names, explain where the inspiration for the name of your business came
The
from.
Three Fates. I'm wandering around like Ohio at some point. I'm married to an academic, and I knew that I might end up in a small town and I might never get to work in my chosen field, which I actually do now, but I work in sustainability.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, well, what would I do? Well, maybe I could open a yarn shop, like thinking it would be way easier than it actually is, right? But what
casual.
would
Yeah.
I call it, right? Like if I had a yarn shop, what would I call it?
Yeah.
Must have spent like 2 days wandering around, just thinking, what would I do? So I was like, I would love it to be like women inspired and like goddess inspired, or the goddesses of knitting. I don't know, goddesses of knitting. It's not old enough, right? But the Three Fates, right? They are in Greek mythology. They are the spinner, the cutter of the thread of life, the spinner of the thread of life, and the weaver, right? I mean, I got them in the wrong order, but you get the general gist of things.
The gist, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that would be a good metaphor. I didn't really go in with Athena because I felt like maybe I should stay away from the higher pantheon just in case, right?
Fair.
Let's
Yeah.
needy. But I also just like the storytelling aspect. So Three Fates show up in Macbeth and Terry Pratchett. They show up in like the Odyssey. They show up in all these other pieces of literature.
Yeah.
So I just like them. And like
That's
they're
very
women
cool.
and they're in our different stages of our life. There's young, there's this young girl, there's like the matron, then there's the crone.
Yeah.
So that all
I
felt
love
like
it. That's
really cool.
so cool. You have your knitting. You're sitting down with your knitting.
Mm-hmm.
You have a good like half a day to just knit.
A day
Have a half a day to knit
and not do anything else.
and not do anything else. What is your perfect setup?
My perfect setup. I mean, there's going to be like a hot mug of tea, I hope.
Hot mug of tea.
There's going to be like some kind of Netflix or Viki situation going on,
Perfection. Love.
right? Possibly an audiobook, depending on what I'm actually working.
Got it. Okay.
There's going to be some yarn in a basket, preferably in a cat-free contraption.
I was just talking about this with Kemper about how our animals don't care about yarn and how so many people say like the cat will go after it. So your cat is interested in your yarn.
Oh, I have video of him going in and scooping like this to like find the perfect ball. He's like, no, not that one. I'll get this one. Yeah, he's pretty funny.
Oh my gosh, he has preferences.
Well, he knows that the round ones are better.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's smart. He's smart.
And the other one is doesn't really know about it, but she's starting to be interested. So
Well, she's gonna learn from him.
maybe she's kind
Yeah.
of big and lazy. We'll see.
What are you watching on TV?
Right now, probably like some K-drama like Twinkling Watermelon or something.
Perfect. I love it.
Yeah, probably.
Like you said, you work in sustainability. You're a full-time sustainability analyst, as well as running this company. So,
Yeah, I do this.
are you going to sleep a lot tomorrow?
I hope so. I might play board games with my kid. I'm not sure.
Fun. So,
time.
how does that inform what you do with your yarn business?
Right. So first of all, there's like all of the operation stuff. Like I have solar panels on my roof. We buy supplemental like green electricity from the power company. I try to recycle everything. I try to reuse plastic. If you get an extra large bag from me, it's probably from like my grocery shopping or something like that, right? I do all of those things. And then when I source fiber, which is really the easiest way to get sustainable wool into a business like mine, I try to make sure it's sustainably sourced. So that means Polwarth or Falkland merino from the Falkland Islands, where they have really great practices for their sheep. Treat their sheep really well. They treat their land really well. I get carbon beneficial wool or climate beneficial wool. It's rambouillet and like a silk blend, or just straight rambouillet, and it comes from Nevada, and it's been certified through the Fiber Shed organization down there.
Love.
So they're doing great land management practices again, sequestering fiber back in the soil. I've done a few like farm to needle kind of projects where I've had things milled for me. I don't have a lot of those right now, but I've done them in the past. So those are like ways that I've tried to incorporate that into my business. Overall, though, a lot of my customers are still really in like the superwash mindset. So I've tried to move towards having things like yak in my business because yak. One, the yak content kind of reduces the amount of superwash content because there's superwash merino.
yeah.
But also it's a more sustainable fiber than cashmere, just as a
Yeah.
practice, because it was considered like a waste product, right?
Yeah.
It's also just really warm, light, and takes color well. And then when you're making it, you're not using just cream colored wool, right? There's some undervalued gray merino, that other wools that go into the blend. So that's a really nice aspect. The silk is not the most sustainable thing in the world, I will admit, but it is silk.
Yeah, but
and
yeah.
we don't have a replacement for it right now.
Well, and I think that there's, this is actually something that I was talking about with Terrence on the podcast that we recorded last week. Being sustainable can feel like you're like, I mean, that's such a big thing, right? Like there's so much you can do, and just even little things are going to make a big difference in the end.
Well, and that's just the environmental part of sustainability. I mean,
Yeah.
take social responsibility quite seriously.
Yes.
Right? We take diversity, equity, inclusion,
Yes.
racial equity, and social justice really seriously.
Yes.
Speaking out on issues, making sure that, I belong to safe spaces. I'm trying to support other BIPOC dyers and makers. That's really important to me, and designers. So trying to work on that.
Same.
That
I love
takes
it.
time.
Yeah. We're very, I mean, that's like why we built this whole app, is that we saw that the same people were being highlighted over and over again. And typically they were white women.
Right. I could use
so
a little.
Yeah.
I'm not writing my clothes and my friends, right? Like that's just the way we want
So,
things.
yeah. So
We get a better
diversity
world.
and discoverability is very important for
Right.
us. So
And then
I
just-
love that that is for you as well.
Yeah, because you can't. Unfortunately, here I can't just buy local and always get diversity. I have to do a little bit of balance.
Yeah. When you are not making or creating, what are you doing for fun?
Watching TV.
Perfect. I love
Playing
it.
board games.
Drinking what's
wine.
your go-to board game?
Whatever my husband pulls out. I think right now we're playing like My Island, which is a probably a not very sustainable game. Yeah. What are we playing? Kingdoms of Valeria? Whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Unlocked.
And you just said wine. What's your go-to wine?
I really like the Pinot Rosés.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a new thing for me. I wasn't a rosé person, but a Pinot Rosé, absolutely.
I mean, we had to talk about this. We're in Oregon,
Yeah.
so that's a question that needed to be asked.
And then I used to work for Chemeketa Community College, and they have a winery, so I always go over there to buy my wine.
That's so cool.
Yeah, the student-made, faculty-overseen wine, such a good thing.
Oh my
You have to go
God.
there, though. It's in Salem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now everyone has a destination that likes wine. Where can everybody find you online? And
3 Fates Yarns with the S.com
Yes.
online,
Nice.
and you can find me at stores in Portland, Salem, and in Eugene. So that would be Northwest Wools, Wild Knits, and Cozy Knits. And then at festivals in Oregon, pretty much. So I'm pretty much at Rose City Yarn Crawl, Black Sheep Gathering, Oregon Flock and Fiber, and now, of course, Sacred Sheep. That is what I can do with a full-time job and not make myself insane.
You are already doing a lot. So
Yeah, I'm busy.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But it's fun.
Well, thank you
It
for
is
taking
better.
the time.
Thanks so much.
I appreciate
It's nice
you.
to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you too. All right, bye everyone.
Bye, everyone.